For starters, this year has been different. It's been certainly a grinded out team wide in terms of what you guys are trying to do. How different is the feel? I'm not asking how different the approach is. I can't imagine that's changed very much, but how different is the feel for what this season has been?
I always like to tell people there's a little more sense of urgency in the things that we're doing. You know, when the game plan comes in, you're more urgent to know your assignment, but also other people's assignment. Like you're urgent to come in and hear what they're gonna attack us with and hear what the coaches got to say. And at the end of the day, when it comes to game time, I always say there needs to be an urgency to start fast. Like I feel like sometimes over this season, defense started a little slow, may give up seven, or they took us a little while to kind of kick into our regular flow. So yeah, sitting here at 6-5, I mean, the biggest thing we've been preaching is just urgency. Like we got to start fast and we got to bring it to them from the jump.
You had that game last week against the Colts, and you guys, it seemed like as the second half moved on, it seemed like Spags was turning up the heat a little bit, a notch at a time on the Colts. It seemed that they had more difficulty in trying to do anything that they wanted to do in the second half. Was that a reaction to what they were doing, or was any of that, all right, we're saving a little on our hip here for something you guys haven't seen before?
Yeah, honestly, I love we told Coach Spags going into the second half that we feel like we can match up pretty well with them on the back end. So if he wanted to heat them up, like trust us as DBs to lock down the receivers. And I feel like that's kind of the approach that he took. And I thought we had a lot of success with it. And I think the biggest thing for us was at halftime, the DBs kind of got together and was like, you know what, let's flush that first half. Like, yeah, they got us a few things there, but let's just play assignment football, do your technique, and like let's just simplify it. Like, let's not do too much. Like, just do your job at the best you can. And as long as all 11 of us are doing our specific job, like we can live with that. And we're lucky enough to get a few big plays, and on the back end, when it time came, we were able to have some PBUs and some big time stops on third and shorts with Drew in the front seven. So I was really happy walking out of that game and just the game plan and how the defense attacked it.
I was looking at some numbers today. One of the things that's eye popping with regard to you this year is how much success you've had in press coverage, you specifically, in terms of beating a guy at the line of scrimmage and not giving up a play when you're doing that. Is that an area you've been focusing on? Is it something that technique or strength, or what is it that's given you that level of success?
Yeah, I think honestly, over this past offseason and going into the season, I had a lot of communication with Coach Spags and Dave Merritt and just understanding where my role was on the defense. And once they told me they wanted me a little bit more outside and they're going to try some few other guys to go in at nickel. So I was going to spend a little more time outside. I really just took that approach as a corner to kind of just lock in on technique wise and make sure that when I'm out there, when I'm against their number one, when it's called on me to go out there and play cover zero, and being on the island. For me, it's all about just disrupting that timing. I feel like that's the biggest thing you do when you're pressed up is not just give them an easy three-step catch and throw, like make them work for it, make them fight through some contact. And I feel like that's just been my biggest success is being aggressive at the line of scrimmage.
This is a really very lethal offense you're facing in this game. A team that can come at you a couple of different ways, and it seems like one of the things that they do really well is work out of play action, and that's because Javante's had such a good year in terms of running the ball. When you look at them short week trying to get ready for this, looking at film, what are you seeing?
Kind of like you said, they have playmakers, and their quarterback, once he gets hot, he can be real dangerous. I mean, they got CeeDee Lamb, they got George Pickens, who can take the top off, can do pretty much anything a receiver can do in the NFL. And they got a really good run game. So when you talk about play action, I mean, they're matching the run game really well with play action and getting guys across the field and stuff like that. So short week, I think it's just really big for the defense to almost focus more on about what we do versus what they're gonna do. It's you can't sit here and watch 10 hours of film for 3 days and kind of break down everything. It's kind of just like, you know what, we're gonna have to just go out there and just play football. And I think when we do that and we're able to understand our game plan and understand, yeah, Dallas might attack us these few ways, but really just go out there and just play with each other and communicate and just trust what we can do. I think we find a lot of success in that. And also, just trusting what Spags calls. I think at the end of the day, every call's not going to be perfect, but if we're all on the same page, we can make a lot of things happen.
I'm going back to something here about the way that you guys have, tried to work your way back in. And you mentioned Spags and you mentioned Andy. And does that continuity of knowing there has been that level of success, does that continuity kind of calm things down when things start to spin out of control?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you just brought up two Hall of Fame coaches who have done it for a long time. And I know especially me and a lot of guys on this defense and offense, we've gone through it. You know what I mean? These past 3 years have been three of the longest seasons you can have, going to back to back Super Bowls. So when you just talk about the confidence and this just level of easiness, like no panic. That's the biggest thing that I see with this locker room. When we were 5-5, we were losing a few games, like nobody panicked, nobody started blaming each other. Everybody was just like, we're right there. Like, let's just keep attacking it day by day and eventually hopefully things start to swing our way. So I love being a part of that and kind of just looking up at guys like Pat and Trav and guys who have been here, Chris Jones, that can kind of lead the way and everybody else kind of just follows.
Thanksgiving is different day to play. You've played on a holiday, you've played on Christmas, not on Thanksgiving before. Anything change about not being able to go through what your original or usual Thanksgiving routine is?
No, I think everybody's really excited. You grow up watching football on Thanksgiving, and I always say next day the leftovers are always better than on Thanksgiving Day. So, I mean, I would love to play football and then go ahead and eat on that Friday. So, I think everybody around here is just excited and just locked in, ready to go.
I saw last week you paid tribute again to your brother Tyler.
Yeah.
On a holiday weekend, on a Thanksgiving weekend, is there something more in terms of just him being nearer to mind or to heart?
Yeah, I mean, this was actually pretty special. So Tyler actually grew up a Cowboys fan. So like growing up, we always were watching the Cowboys. I was always like, man, we got to watch these guys again, always give them a hard time. And I never played in Dallas. My family's never been in Dallas. So going and playing in Dallas on Thanksgiving will definitely be some sentimental to me and something that hopefully will just give me a little more emotional strength when I'm out there.
Trent, it's always great to talk to you. Really do appreciate the time on this short week. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you as well. Thank you so much, Scott.